Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus 7-Day Challenge, and today we have Saving Giraffes, The Long Journey Home. This is the National Geographic documentary. It's about 45 minutes long. It's from 2022. It's just last year. It's really new. Looks really good. It's really high definition, and so it's not one of these old-timey ones. It deals with a specific area in East Africa, I believe, in the Rift Valley, where some giraffes... There's not a lot of them in the first place. People are hunting them. These beautiful, just completely interesting creatures. They just were whittled down in this one area down to 8 giraffe. 8. That's it. And then the floodwaters came. Waters started rising. They were set in a pretty safe place on a peninsula, and the waters rose, and that peninsula quickly became an island. It killed off a lot of the trees, and it separated the giraffes from the mainland. And one in particular was caught by herself. In fact, one of the things that happens is when a giraffe is pregnant, about to give birth, they separate from the rest of the pack and go off on their own and give birth. Well, this is a really bad time to do that. And her name is Asiwa. I'm not sure. I imagine she was given that name by the guy named Mike, who is a conservancy. He works for the conservancy there. And he's been in love with giraffes since he was a kid. And he's always wanted to grow up to be a keeper, somebody who can help protect them and take care of them and just make sure that everything goes well for them. And being that there's not too many, I imagine it'd be much harder if there was a couple hundred of them, or 1,000 of them, or 10,000, or more, as there should be. But many years ago, maybe about 20, not even 20 years ago, the people in that area were at war with each other. And you can see a little bit of footage from that era, around 2005, blasting each other up, shooting each other up, burning down schools, and people getting killed left and right. And of course, the giraffes were also caught in the middle. They did not fare well. Even though to many of these people, the giraffe is a source of inspiration, a creature of peace, and also symbolizes the ability to look far ahead because of their height and everything else. You get to see a lot of, they interview a number of people who just give their perspective from the various cultures that exist there. And of course, there's some people who come in from England, I think, I'm not sure, who come in and help with this process of trying to save Asiwa's life. Not going to give away too much here or there. She does survive, I'll give you that much, because that's kind of the whole thing. I mean, if it ended up really sad, that would be just awful. There are some sad moments, but there's also a bit of humor here and there, because the team that is able to create a barge and go through a whole process of wrangling a giraffe and getting it on a barge and taking it nearly a mile or a kilometer across a lake or body of water. Well, guess what? It's not easy. There's a number of logistical things that go wrong, but the people who work together to do this used to be at war with each other. So it's kind of interesting to see them come together in order to save these animals that many of them, when they weren't being shot, revere. So it's a fun little story. You get to see things through Mike's eyes a lot. This is not like a story kind of thing, although I imagine this feels like a Pixar film or a movie that they'd have somebody narrate and give the animals voices. No, it's not. There's some cutaways to animation every so often to sort of recreate moments in the history of Asiwa's life and her relationship to Michael, or Mike. I don't know if it's Michael, but Mike. And so yeah, it's turned out sweeter and more interesting than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be just a dry documentary. Giraffes have long necks, and they've got spots, and they like eating leaves, and they just live so many years, and they have kids. And then, I figured it was going to be that. And it turns out it's not. This is a very specific story about a very specific time in which they work together to save this animal's life. And you can feel that stress. This is an animal that's been kept alone for a while. When she went off, okay, I kind of spoil something here, when she went up to have her baby, and she'd been a while alone for a little bit longer than that. And even so, there was efforts to feed them as best they could. Well, only one of them survived, and it was a Siwa. And yeah, so she was stuck there for a long time. And when they worked together to get her out of there, suddenly being surrounded by many, many people, and then suddenly tranked, and then a bag over her head and ropes and inner tube and everything else. It's very, cobbled together like the A-Team kind of situation. It was a full-on, it was a plan. The barge is even constructed by these people in a way that is not exactly high-tech, let's just say. They knew how much weight it could hold. That was important. But in a very, very real sense, it was taking a big risk for them to even come near her. And you can see how freaked out she is at the idea of these people clamoring around her, making noise that she is not used to. And it gets tense for the people there involved, and not just them, but for you watching it. For me, anyway, I got a little tense. But so yeah, I recommend it. I recommend it if you're interested in seeing how conservancy, how conservation works, keeping animals alive and keeping them protected in areas where their lives are not always valued by people who are pretty much just greedy or bloodthirsty. Well, this is a chance to see some people doing some really great work. So yeah, I'd say check it out if you get the chance. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
46.
46. Oh, okay. It's even lower than the last. The last one was 76. 46 is super low. What could it be? Okay, more flooding. This is another documentary. We've been getting in a lot of documentaries. By the way, I said this a couple days ago. I can't remember what the number is, but there's a lot of documentaries on Disney Plus right now. A lot. And there are a lot, most of them, of course, National Geographic. I'm almost thinking about putting a moratorium on them, but yeah, you could have the National Geographic channel and watch that stuff there, but I think this does add a little depth. So it's not just cartoons and Mandalorians and Star Wars and Marvels and stuff like that. So yeah, the documentaries are diverse in their own sense. So I'd say it's worthwhile keeping them until I end up with like 20 in a row, which would be just, I think, an awful run. Let's break it up a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I know that there's some stuff coming up soon that I have already picked out in the coming weeks. Obviously, next month is May the 4th. I have a Star Wars one pick for that, and some other things that are premiering over the next few weeks that we'll definitely want to check out. But for now, tomorrow, we're going to be watching Before the Flood. I'm not sure which flood this is. We will have to find out. Tomorrow, Before the Flood on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. See you then.